Hello everyone, welcome to today's monthly market dynamic update. I'm Andrew from the Market Analysis Department, and today I will walk you through the major events shaping the global PV market in past July. So let's start with the European market. First, let's see what's happening in Belgium. Belgium is projected to reach around 34 gigawatts of installed PV capacity by the end of 2035, according to a new report from ELA published on June 27. The country is also predicted to see its operation PV power increase from around 13 gigawatts at the end of 2025 to 23 gigawatts at the end of 2030. And at the end of 2024, Belgium's cumulative solar capacity has already stood at around 12 gigawatts, which is equivalent to 13% of the country's electricity consumption. And electrification and digitalization are triggering a transformation of Belgium electricity system, the author stated, noticing that the capacity CRM will be widely utilized to ensure the existing and new capacity. While adequacy is ensured in the short term, additional capacity will be needed from 2028 onwards to maintain the country's security of supply. Moving next, let's see happening in Italy. On July 9th, the first solar energy auction under the Italian's new incentive scheme for renewable energy, the Transitional 4X program, has attracted 1,387 project proposals with a combined capacity of around 18 gigawatts, according to Italian energy agency GSE. And pre-qualified projects developers have until September 12th to submit the final offers. And for this time, Italian authorities expect to allocate 600 to 8,000 megawatts of solar PV capacity through the auction. The auction also accepts proposals for wind power projects, which totaled around 3 gigawatts. In the previous tender under the early version of the 4X scheme, which is Italian's sixth auction, the GSE already awarded 278 megawatts of solar capacity across 53 sites and approved 2 wind projects totaling 88 megawatts. Okay, moving next, let's see what's happening in Spain. On July 28, the Spanish Minister of Ecological Transition, which we call the MITECO, has launched a new renewable manufacturing subsidy program with a subsidy of 480 million euro. The funds will be provided through Spain's Recovery and Resilience Plan under the Next-Gen EU, which aims to intensify the production of equipment and components for solar panels, batteries, wind turbines, and electrolyzers, among other technologies. The program will be separated into two, one with 35 million euros allocated to projects with a budget between 1 million euro to 30 million euro, and the remaining quantity for projects of 30 million euro or more. On average, the maximum funding a project will be eligible to receive is 15% of the project's cost, with a maximum financing of 150 million euro for a single project. The percentage and maximum amount can vary depending on the region the project is built and the size of the company. Small companies could see the investment increase by 20%, while medium companies can get up to 10% more than the average. Next, let's see what's happening in the United States. So on July 16, the Alliance for American Solar Manufacturing and Trade has filed an anti-dumping and countervailing duty petition with the U.S. International Trade Commission and the U.S. Department of Commerce against the Chinese-owned manufacturers operating in Indonesia and Laos and India headquartered companies. The group cited a number of alleged illegal subsidies that enable producers to identify markets to undercut produce based on the U.S. Additionally, it identified dumping margins, the difference between the exporting price and the regular domestic price in the importing country, of around 90% for products coming from Indonesia, and 213% for Indian products, and 245 to 250% for products from Laos. The earlier round of the petition against the Southeast Asian countries took around 1 year to complete from the initial launch to the imposition of the tariffs. So for this time, it's unlikely the Department of Commerce and ITC will reach a conclusion shortly. And let's move on. Turn to the Middle East, Africa, and India, regions with strong growth potential. So first, let's see about the Saudi Arabia. On July 13, Saudi Arabia state-owned SPPC has signed 7 new power purchase agreements totaling 15 gigawatts of renewable energy capacity, making it the largest single-phase commitment of renewable energy projects ever signed globally. The agreements were awarded to a consortium led by Aqua alongside Water and Electricity Holding and PIF and Amarco Energy Ventures. The projects will be operational in the second half of 2027 and first half of 2028. So far, SPPC has launched around 43 gigawatts in renewable tenders. And for system agreements, around 10 gigawatts is already connected to grid. Linked capacity expected to reach around 12 gigawatts by end of 2025 and around 20 gigawatts by the end of 2026. So moving next, let's see what's happening in Africa. On July 3rd, another PV module manufacturing base in Nigeria. Moving next, let's see what's happening in Africa. So in July 3rd, another PV module manufacturer base in Nigeria held a groundbreaking ceremony. The manufacturer is the local company Terrence, which plans to build a 300 megawatts module production base with the first phase of 400 megawatts production lines scheduled to be put into operation next year. This is already the third local module manufacturing base announced in Nigeria since this year, with a cumulative planned production capacity approaching 3 gigawatts. And Nigeria's PV demand has been very stable in recent years, with an average annual import volume of modules from China reaching 2 gigawatts. Previously, the Nigerian government attempted to ban the import of PV modules to promote the development of local PV manufacturing capacity. And moving next, let's see what's happening in India. India's solar momentum remains very strong, with 18 gigawatts of new PV capacity added in first half of 2025, marking 51.6 YOY growth according to JMK. And utility-scale solar continues to dominate the market as the segment brought online about 14 gigawatts of new installations with 49% annual increase. And of this, around 11 gigawatts were added in the second quarter alone. And the rooftop solar segment also expanded by 76%, bringing online close to 3.2 gigawatts capacity during the period. And recently, we see as according to the report card, JMK calculated the country to have brought online 70 gigawatts of utility scale and 4.15 gigawatts of rooftop solar capacity. It forecasts 21 gigawatts of utility scale and 7 gigawatts of rooftop solar capacity to be commissioned during the fiscal year of 2026. However, on July 29, Rediff reported that the Minister of the State for New and Renewable Energy and Power, Sarapet Naki, said that since April 1st, 2023, a total of 1.4 gigawatts of renewable energy tenders issued by the REIAS had been cancelled as of June 30, 2025. The cancellations were due to the reasons such as low participations, tariffs, and withdrawal of end procurers. And Naki further stated that around 44 gigawatts of renewable capacity has received letters of award, but power sale agreements with the end procurers have yet to be signed. And to address the misalignments, transmission readiness, and end user demand leading to PSA delays, the bidding guidelines for renewable energy were amended, allowing LOA cancellations after 12 months if PSAs are not finalized. And in a separate response, Naki noticed that the government is taking steps to accelerate the PSA signing. These include urging states to meet renewable consumption obligations, encouraging REIAs to aggregate demand from the outcomes and tailor tenders accordingly, and organizing the regional workshop with key renewable energy procuring states. And finally, in China, discussion around the intense internal competition have been front and center, with the PV sector being a typical example. And the government has been actively rolling out measures to guide the industry toward healthier and more sustainable growth. So on July 24th, the National Development and Reform Commission and the state administrations for the market regulation jointly released the draft amendment to the price law of China. The comprehensive campaign against the disorderly evolutionary style competition is expected to gain stronger legal backing. This is the first revision to the price law since its implementation. The draft amendment adds provisions aimed at curbing evolutionary style competition and strengthens regulations on unfair pricing practice such as predatory pricing, price gouging, collusion, and discriminatory pricing. The new price law will work alongside the anti-monopoly law and anti-unfair competition law to enhance market oversight. And that's all for my today's sharing. Thank you for your attention.